Anne Arundel County has earned the deserved reputation as one of Maryland's most enlightened, progressive thinking, and proactive community when it comes to behavioral health. I'm now honored to invite County Executive Stephen Hsu for remarks on what the county is doing, has done, and what each of us can do to save a life.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight as we remember those we lost too soon, grandparents and parents, spouses, children, friends, colleagues. Too much suffering, way too much. I would like to acknowledge the members of our fire and police departments, addiction specialists, and the many service providers who are here this evening and who are working so hard every day to combat this crisis. Heroin and opioid addiction is an unprecedented challenge throughout our entire state, and Anne Arundel County is a case study for that challenge. When I came into office 4 years ago, our county was experienced what I believed then was a crisis, a fatality a week and an overdose a day from opiates. One of our administration's first actions was to declare a public health emergency related to heroin and opioids. We formed the Anne Arundel County Heroin Action Task Force, which reviewed strategies and best practices from all over the entire country. That group came out with 35 specific recommendations that fell into 3 areas: law enforcement, treatment, and education. Actions that they recommended in the area of enforcement included doubling the budget for the police department's drug diversion squad, funding a dedicated heroin prosecutor in the Office of State's Attorney Wes Adams, and prioritizing the serving of heroin-related warrants. Working with the Sheriff's Office and the State's Attorney, our program to put heroin dealers behind bars is well underway. But we have no interest in putting those suffering from addiction behind bars. We want to put them in treatment. And that's the second group of strategies. Treatment actions include improving treatment options like investing $800,000 to open a new county substance abuse treatment center to serve our Central and South County areas, increasing community grant assistance for substance abuse service providers by 25%, doubling the number for Narcan, offering Vivitrol treatments in our detention facilities, partnering with Baltimore Washington Medical Center in their Overdose Survivors Outreach Program, which connects people who have experienced heroin or opiate overdoses with treatment, and granting a $2 million grant to BWMC to help increase the number of mental health beds here in the community. And lastly, most importantly, perhaps over the long run, education. Our education initiatives have included hosting Not My Child forums across the county at different community associations, neighborhood groups, schools, libraries, anywhere people will have us. This program and video, yeah, it's a good program. If you haven't been to a Not My Child forum, please look for notices about them. They're taking place all over the county, and they're extremely beneficial. And take your kids. Yes, thank you. Take your kids. Program has received national acclaim and was recognized by the National Association of Counties. We've now hosted over 100 Not My Child events throughout the county, and thousands of people have heard our message. Now, at this point, all 35 of those initial recommendations from 3.5 years ago have been implemented and are now fully operational. But despite these efforts, overdoses have tripled from 1 per day to 2.5 per day. And fatalities have increased from 1 per week to 3 per week. So we knew we had to innovate. And that is why this last April, in April of 2017, we kicked off the Safe Stations program here in Anne Arundel County. Safe Stations is awesome. It's an awesome program. This is a new approach to assuring that those in crisis get the treatment they need when they need it. If you're not familiar with this program, I want to tell you about it real quickly. Anne Arundel County and Annapolis City have designated each fire station as a safe place where individuals can go to get assistance and begin their path to recovery. So at any time of the day or night, a resident who's suffering from addiction can go to any fire station and ask for help. No questions asked. No one gets in trouble. Just the help he or she needs. After a medical assessment, the individual is connected to our crisis response team and is channeled into treatment. Listen to this, over 1,000 people have now presented themselves to a safe station for treatment. People are getting their lives back. And on the subject of crisis response, many of the members of our crisis response team are here tonight. Can you please stand and be recognized? The work they do is just incredible. They're all in the back there. Thank you. Day or night, they will be there to help. It's unbelievable what they do. We are beginning to see signs of hope. Although the numbers of overdoses do continue to rise, the number of fatalities is finally starting to come down. So far this year, fatalities are down 23%. We haven't seen that ever. But it's going to be a long battle, and it's going to take all of us working together to win this battle. But there is hope. There is recovery. It's important to remember that. There's hope and there is recovery. Programs like Safe Stations are making a difference. Nights like tonight, where people come together to hear each other's stories, are making a difference. And I'd encourage everyone here to mark your calendar and join us next Thursday, September 6th at 6 p.m. at the Paschal Senior Center for a mental health forum, where we will discuss our county's response to the national mental health crisis. These two menaces, addiction and mental health, are linked. And I believe by making investments to combat both, we can win this war and end this terrible suffering. So thank you. God bless all of you. And I'd now like to invite Denise Williams and Ann Youngblood to please come to the stage and share with us their perspectives and stories.
Look around the room. That's a lot of t-shirts. For all of you who are wondering what's the meaning of the shirts, all 176 t-shirts represented a life lost to an overdose from August 31st, 2017 to July 31st, 2018. 175 lives lost in less than 1 year. That number only represents the lives lost here in Anne Arundel County. That's not statewide, that's not across the country. It's just too many lives. It's just like what Chris said, it's more lives lost than to an auto accident, to violence, and to any other disease. It's half the people in this room are now standing. I hope you are all as horrified, shocked, sickening, and angered as we are. It's completely unacceptable, and this has to end. All 176 of these people, along with the ones who went before them, and sadly the ones who will come after them, will only be remembered in history as a number, a statistic of our nation's worst epidemic.
Tonight, in memory of them, let's put a face, a name, and a personality to that number. Eventually, there will be words on these side screens, and these words will describe the person our loved one was, a person we all love dearly. A little later in the vigil, we will be presenting a slideshow. This slideshow will put a face and a name to that number. We had hoped to receive all 176 photos, so we asked if you are aware of a missing photo to the slideshow to picture their face and to say their name. We want to remember and honor them also.
Okay, you can all sit down now. Is this? Oh, okay. Tonight we are here to celebrate all the good, the unique qualities, and whatever made our loved ones a very special person. But before we get started, we would like to share something Angel Trainer posted on Facebook in June after hearing the devastating news that one of her girls, Sarah, had passed. We think everyone here tonight can relate to these eloquently written words. I lost my
breath when I got the news. I still feel as if I cannot breathe. If only we really understood how much love there is for us, perhaps it would be different. If we really understood how beautiful, important, useful, and smart we are, perhaps it would be different. It's not different, though. Sadly, it has become the norm. You are so much more than a status, a like, or an emoji. You will always be a shining light to me and have now joined the ranks of those who drive me to never give up, because I know the end result of that action. I imagine it will remain hard to breathe for several days at the very least. My heart breaks into a million pieces every time I think of the babies and your family. I pray that those million pieces will become shiny someday, the same shine that happened when you walked into any room. Wow, that was so perfectly said. And let's give Angel a round of applause for those touching words.
Now, what we came to share. We could stand up here and tell you our sons, Lance, Ryan, and Matt's story of addiction. Their story is much like your loved one's story, the same one we hear over and over again. They became an addict, they made poor choices, they hurt themselves, their family, their friends, they go into treatment, they relapse, their story ends tragically. They become a statistic, a faceless number in the record books.
Our sons and your loved ones deserve more than that. They had a name and a personality. Addiction isn't what defines them. They were so much more than that. Tonight, we remember and honor them. We remember them smiling, laughing, happy, and full of life. We remember the love they shared with and felt for us. We remember all the memories of the time spent with them on birthdays, holidays, and special occasions. We remember the ordinary occasions, each ordinary day we spent with them that was just perfect. Those memories are all priceless treasures that can never be erased from our hearts and our minds.
Each and every one of our loved ones were unique shining stars. They all had many special qualities that made them who they were.
So for Lance, it was being an incredibly handsome son and brother. He was goofy and always joking around. When you first met him, you probably thought he was just a pain. But when you got to know him, you couldn't help but love him. He was a supportive friend, always there when he was needed, even when he was at his worst. Lance lived his life free of fear, and that's what I believe made him live life. He lived more life in the short 20 years that he was here than I have in my 40-some years. For me, Lance will always be that precious 7-pound, 8-ounce baby I met for the first time on August 4th, 1993.
For Ryan, he's the tall one. It was being a loving, handsome, charismatic, and funny person. He was a father, he was a son, he was a brother, an uncle. He was a twin brother to Matt. He was a natural athlete. Ryan was a standout runner in high school and college. He was a welder and a mechanic, and he was also great at home improvements. For Matt, the shorter one, it was being a loving, kind, extremely smart, handsome, and charming person. He was a son, a brother, and an uncle. Matt was Ryan's twin brother. He could easily be everyone's best friend. He was a gifted musician who through the years played the violin, the clarinet, the piano, and his favorite, the guitar. Like Ryan, Matt also was a welder, a mechanic, and was great at home improvements.
Let's face it, they all touched our hearts and souls and our lives like no one else. For that, we are eternally grateful to them. We feel it takes a pretty strong person to try and fight a demon larger than life itself. For our warriors who fought and lost the battle, we will never forget you. We will continue to battle in your honor. We will fight for more treatment centers with easier access, for more education and reform. We won't stop until we and this epidemic ends. We will do this in memory of you.
For those of you here tonight that fought the battle and won, bravo. You are amazing, strong, and we applaud you. For those of you who are here tonight just like us, left to pick up the pieces with a heart that has been shattered beyond repair, we feel your tears, we know your pain, we are you. We send you our love and our support.
We have all cried ourselves to sleep night after night, wondering what could we have done differently. We all thought the pain of watching them suffering was the worst, but now we know missing them hurts even more.
We encourage all of you who are like us to please seek help and support. Just like them, you can't do it alone. If sending a balloon or a lantern to the heavens makes you feel better, then do it. If planting a tree, a bush, flower, or garden in their memory makes you feel better, then do it. Honor and include their memory in your events and celebrations. Look for signs. Who's to say it's not them? Talk to them. We both believe they are listening. Do whatever comforts you, but most of all, never forget them. After all, their lives matter too.
In closing, here are 8 tips to help someone grieving. Number 1, don't judge us or tell us you know how we feel unless you've walked in our shoes.
Number 2, keep in mind, we may look the same on the outside, but we are completely different on the inside.
Number 3, have patience with us. We'll let you know when it's time to resume normal activities or social events. In the meantime, don't stop inviting us. It still makes us feel wanted, even if we are not ready.
If we want to cry or have a meltdown, let us. God knows we've earned it.
If we want to talk about our loved one, let us. Let us do it without you seeming to be annoyed or bored with us talking about them.
Number 6, don't be afraid to tell us that you thought of our loved one today for fear of making us cry. It's okay, we cry every day anyway. It's when you don't mention them that we cry the hardest. We just assume you've forgotten them.
And number 7, grief has no time limit. And number 8, always remember the greatest gift you can give us is to just let us hear you speak their names.
My name is Angel Trainer, and I am the coordinator of Recovery Anne Arundel. I want to thank all of you for coming, whether it's your first year or your third year of being here. A couple of things that I would like to get out of the way. There's a huge group of volunteers that helped to put this together tonight. I certainly cannot do this alone. I can't do it without each and every one of you, so thank you so much. Denise and Anne, it has been a pleasure working with you over the last couple of years, and you are the two of the bravest women I have ever met in my life. Next to my mother, you're two of the strongest women I have met. Thank you. When I became a participant in Recovery Anne Arundel, it was 2008. I was sent to a group by my boss. I was 2 years into my recovery process, and by then I knew that it was not a good idea to not listen to your boss, so I showed up. I walked into the room, and my first thought was, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. Because when I walked in, there were 15 people sitting at the table, and 9 of them, I had been a JID number, that's a jail identification number. I had been a client of. They had been a CO, that's an officer of the detention center, for those of you that don't know. They had been a CO. They had been a PO, probation officer, or they had been the POPO. And I'm sure that all of us know what that means. And I thought, I don't belong here. And when they find out who I am, and they find out the things that I've done, they're going to ask me to leave. I just knew that. And I can tell you that 10 years later, it is an honor for me to be the coordinator for this group. 10 years, 120 months, 3,650 days of fighting the good fight in Anne Arundel County, helping those who seek recovery from substance use, and helping the community to understand. In 10 years, we have made friends and we have gained allies. We have the support from law enforcement and our first responders. If you are in law enforcement or you are a first responder, will you please stand so that we can recognize you? Thank you for your service. Thank you for helping to make our county and our city better places to live. Tonight we have elected officials and decision makers among us. Please stand and let us thank you for paying attention, for partnering, and for supporting the much needed recovery efforts. But more importantly, from my heart, thank you for recognizing. Thank you for recognizing, and thank you for listening to us, because we're a big part of the community. Recovery Anne Arundel has grown from 15 participants in 2008 to over 50 members that served the recovery movement in 2018. We have treatment providers, members of the health department, drug court employees, peer support specialists that come monthly. Also attending are family members, allies of recovery, and people in recovery seeking to advocate. We stand together as one collective voice. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of the solution. Every single person in this room tonight is a part of the solution. Sadly, in our county, our numbers, they've evened out. Our fatal overdoses, I feel have climbed, and County Executive Shu, I heard the numbers, but here's what I can tell you. That the moment for me, the pain starts to subside from a loss, it appears that there's another that comes right behind the door. And for me, that's as soon as just yesterday. I got news of another friend passing away. I personally have sat with family members and I've cried. I have delivered one of the hardest speeches that I have ever delivered in my life, and that was a eulogy this year. I've celebrated the lives of the people that I love, as I know that many of you in the room have done as well. I know that many of you have experienced loss, and for that, I am sorry. Thank you for sharing your loved ones with us. If you are struggling to overcome an addiction, no one needs to tell you it's rough. No one needs to tell you it's hard. I understand that, and many people in this room understand. And if nobody has told you that they love you today, I love you. Please know that you are not alone, and that yes, change is possible. I'm looking out and I see many faces in this room, and I know where we've come from, and I know where we can go. Stigma and shame can deter those seeking help. For individuals with substance use disorders and their families, we need to draw attention to the myths that may cause confusion or perpetuate stigma. By using accurate, non-stigmatizing language and using the facts about recovery, we can help to break the stigma surrounding this disease so that people can more easily access treatment, reach recovery, and live happy, healthy lives. Recovery Anne Arundel strives to bring this message of hope home to our own community through positive messages and community events. In early 2017, Recovery Anne Arundel was chosen as one of 15 communities across the nation to work with a national nonprofit of facing addiction. For the last 16 months or so, we have been meeting, and what we've found out is that there are some critical needs, and we have come up with 2 goals for the city of Annapolis and for Anne Arundel County. The first goal, because everybody wants to do something right now, right? Everybody wants to get something done right now. So what we've come up with is a pocket-sized resource guide that was available at the door coming in. If you did not get one, please make sure you get one on the way out the door. It is filled with resources that can save a life. Please make sure you keep them handy. It's a valuable resource. The second goal, we seek to open a recovery community center in Annapolis. We are determined to have this vision become a reality. This team has worked hard to bring recovery to your front door, and it has been a beautiful thing for me to watch. Also, please get your bracelets on your way out, just to remember the lives that are lost. And I'm not going to stand up here and I'm not going to tell you it's going to end tomorrow, but what I will tell you is that it is going to take every one of us to join together to beat this. I ask that you join us in our efforts by attending our very first community listening session that will be held on September the 18th at Anne Arundel Community College, the 7th annual Recovery Walk on September the 30th in downtown Annapolis, and we have a candidate meet and greet on October the 1st in Annapolis as well. All information, you can find that out in the cafe. I also encourage you to visit our website and to join our monthly meetings. I'll end with this. My name is Angel, and I'm a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is I've not found it necessary to use heroin or any other substances in almost 11 years.